I do think that the prospect of JJ McCarthy, for some reason, was tantalizing to more people than one. Like, for some reason, he was tantalizing, and KOC sees something in him that I don't see, that you don't see, but I have to, at this point, just like I give the benefit of the doubt to Mike Tomlin, I give the benefit of the doubt to Kevin O'Connell, because it seems like he gets it right more times than I do.
And they're saying, Diana Rossini, she's getting a lot of flack for this about reporting from Vikings camp, and this is reporting from about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, but McCarthy apparently is being handled with kid gloves.
Yeah.
And
that's what you do.
Not when he's the second year in the organization.
Okay.
I don't care if
this?
he didn't play last year. You really got to treat the guy like an adult when it's year 2 with the system, and he's had plenty of time to warm up to being a Minnesota Viking.
Enough. How about that? You know what that means?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you know what that means. You're in trouble, sir. You want to talk Vikings? How about a Teddy Two-A-Days on the Vikings? Since you're so low on them, since you think the gamble's not going to pay off, you don't believe in Kwesi, well, then let's talk about it then. The Minnesota Vikings last year. Teddy Two-A-Days, our NFL previews here on Theoretically Speaking. Theo, how did they finish last year, this team that C-Cat's so down on? Oh, I don't know. 14-3. Does that ring a bell? Huh? 14 wins, 3 losses. That's what that means, C-Cat. 14 wins, 3 losses. That's the team we're talking about right now.
I hear Samuel Darnold. That's who I hear when you say that.
Let's talk about Sam Darnold then. Because last year's finish obviously was a finish that happened in the wild card round against the Los Angeles Rams, and it was not pretty. Sam Darnold lost generational money in the span of 8 days in a way in which I don't think I've seen a player do in my lifetime watching sports. He was being talked about as a $55 million quarterback. That was the market for Sam Darnold literally on January 5th, the morning of January 5th. Unfortunately, the Vikings played the Lions that night for the 1 seed in the NFC in Week 18, and Sam Darnold, he Darnold all over himself. And then 8 days later, January 13th, against the Rams, back-to-back stinkers from Sammy, and he ends up with the Seahawks. But I do think it is worth noting one pivotal thing about those 2 games, and I'm going to get to that later as I preview the Vikings for 2025. How about we talk about their biggest offseason moves that they made? Big Kwesi in the front office.
Number 3.
Oh, number 3 is letting Sam Darnold walk for nothing. We thought they might franchise him and trade him. We thought that they might re-sign him, but they believe in JJ McCarthy, so therefore they let him walk out the door. And also, let's relook at that Seahawks contract. Not a lot invested in him past the first year. They just drafted a quarterback as well in Jalen Milroe. We'll see how much faith and how long of a leash he'll have in Seattle.
Number 2.
Off-season moves for the Minnesota Vikings. How about beefing up the offensive line? They go in sign Will Fries, former Colts guard, and then they go and get Donovan Jackson, a guard out of Ohio State, in the first round. So you're beefing up the interior of that offensive line. And here's the most slept-on move the Vikings made.
Number 1.
They went out and got a second running back to follow up with Aaron Jones. 2 things happened to the Vikings last year. The run game fell off a bit, and the offensive line got banged up. They went out and got Jordan Mason, the man who was the savior of the 49ers season, but mostly the savior of a lot of guys this fantasy football season. They went and got him to be a number 2 to spell Aaron Jones, a veteran, and I think the Vikings are going to lean in on the run game. C-Cat, you said that they're handling JJ McCarthy with baby gloves, right?
Yep.
That's how you do that with a young quarterback. You beef up the line, and you invest in the run game.
No, I like dropping the quarterback in the deep end of the pool. You sink or swim, pal.
Well, you might end up with Josh Rosen. You might end up with Sam Darnold Part 1.
And maybe the biggest offseason move that the Vikings make hasn't happened yet, because reports out of camp are saying that they're shopping for a veteran wide receiver because of small injury concern with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison suspended several games.
Well, here's the thing. That's what makes me go to the fan feeling wheel, and we're going to spin the fan feeling wheel, and I'm going to tell you exactly how fans are feeling out in Minneapolis right now, the Twin Cities. Twin City action. Oh, what's that? Anxious. You know, anxiety's not always bad. That means you're thinking heavily about something. Something is weighing heavily on your mind. Fans are anxious about this season because they're wondering, what is JJ McCarthy going to be when the bullets are flying? They're wondering, is JJ McCarthy going to have his number 1 option in Justin Jefferson? Also, what can Kwesi do about filling out this wide receiver room? They drafted a 3rd-round receiver out of Maryland. Last time they did that, he turned into Stephon Diggs. I wonder what Ty ends up being. But I think Vikings fans right now are just feeling a bit anxious. They just want the games to start because the last 2 times they saw their Vikings, the quarterback play was so bad that they probably cut their TVs off by halftime. Let's get to the Teddy tiers. The Teddy tiers is where we rank each team. We group them up in 5 different sections based on where we feel they have a real opportunity of placing in 2025. The number 1 spot is the Big Steppers. Number 2, the nominees. Number 3 is the Fun Guys. Number 4 is the Scrappy Dogs, the New York Jets right there. And then number 5 is No Motion. The Browns are the only team that have no motion right now. So as I look to tier the Vikings, how about you click that Vikings logo for me and drag that thing up past No Motion. No. They're better than Scrappy Dogs, even though their quarterback is kind of one. Are they Fun Guys? Are they? Put them in the nominees, damn it. Put them in the nominees. Kevin O'Connell is going to have this team ready to go. This is a 14-win team last year with Sam Darnold that just beefed up the line, improved their run game. I'm not too concerned with that wide receiver room. They will figure it out. There are some deep, young options in that wide receiver room. KOC calls a good offense. That is a team that will be there at the end of the day. Coming out of an NFC North division, they're going to be there at the end of the day. I'm not saying they have a chance to actually compete for a Super Bowl, but they make the playoffs this year. In fact, I look at their Hard Rock Bet win total, CCAT. It is 8.5. My prediction for these Vikings, who beefed up the trenches on both sides, the offensive line and the defensive line, who are going to sneak up on folks, plus they have the number 1 option when it comes to receivers in Justin Jefferson. I don't want to hear about Jamar Chase. That guy's the best. 10-7. 10-7 for the Vikings.
You can't be a nominee and be 10-7.
You can. It's a tough division. It's a tough division. They're going to make it in the wild card. They're not winning the division. But I think that team is going to be better than their record. That defense is absolutely sharp. Like, there's going to be some games they win just based on what Brian Flores does defensively. You know what? Scrap it then, CCAT. You're right. That was too soft. 11-6.
Ooh.
11-6.
So
for the Minnesota Vikings. Give me the Vikings to pull something off this year, man.
What place in the division would you put them at?
At
11 wins.
At 11 wins, last year 11 wins would only get you 3rd in division. Ask the Packers. And that's where I'm putting the Minnesota Vikings this year. That means somebody's got to fall off, and you'll find out next time on Teddy Two-A-Days who that will be. Storyline coming out of the season, by the way, for the Vikings is JJ McCarthy going to be the franchise quarterback for this team. Is he going to be a $50 million guy? Because remember, he's going into year 2 here. So once you wrap up year 2, year 3 is the prove-it year, and that's when the team has to make a decision on you. I think he plays well enough to where they don't have to bring a new quarterback in. I do think he's going to have his stumbles, which will create a little bit of a question mark as to whether or not he's the guy for the future. He's not going to have a Sam Darnold level fumble, but it might be tough. And that was Teddy Two-A-Days. One more note, though, on the Vikings last year, and I didn't get to it. People don't count for the fact that the offensive line was absolutely horrendous in those last 2 games, and Darnold was seeing ghosts again because, damn it, there was like 18 guys running at him every play. So let's taper your expectations for Darnold in Seattle, but also give that guy some grace. That line was horrendous down the stretch. Evan Cohen's next.